Thanks, Chairman Howland. Senator Daines from Montana is recognized.
Chairman Brown, thank you. As I said in our previous hearing on stablecoins, I think it was about 2 months ago, I do believe the stablecoin policy is an area where there should be, there can be, hopefully there will be, some broad bipartisan agreement and compromise. I do believe that we should pursue a light touch approach to regulation. But I also believe a bipartisan legislative framework on stablecoins is possible and I do believe necessary. Bipartisan legislation will also help provide users as well as market participants with the certainty they need to let innovation flourish without fear that regulators will overreach using authority in existing statutes that in no way contemplated the emergence of stablecoins. I would urge my colleagues to avoid any partisan solution and instead seek consensus on truly something that's bipartisan. There's a moment here that we need to seize that would provide certainty needed for private industry to grow as well as to prosper. I think this will help provide the best pathway for this technology to grow in a way that benefits the folks back home in Montana, all Americans, and the global financial system. Furthering the use of stablecoins will help to increase the speed of payments and lower costs in the financial system, and I believe these are results we should all agree are worth pursuing. Turn to my questions. Under Secretary Lang, on absent legislation from Congress, can you provide us a sense as to which federal agencies would be most likely to issue regulations relating to stablecoins and on which statutes they would derive their authority?
So Senator Daines, thank you for the question. I would need to defer to the individual agencies as to how they would interpret their authorities and their strategies. I would say currently the SEC and CFTC are approaching crypto assets more broadly to prevent fraud, to prevent manipulation, to protect investors and consumers. The banking agencies are taking actions issuing guidance to advise banks about their activities in crypto. But currently, I don't think there is the authority for any agency to address the risks of stablecoins, to prevent runs, and to prevent disruptions in the payment system should stablecoins be used widely as payments.
So I think, hearing you answer that question, it leads me to a follow-up in terms of your thoughts around the need for adopting a clear regulatory framework that would be established through bipartisan legislation. Might that be a catalyst for a more widespread adoption of digital assets?
I think a consistent, comprehensive framework could be a catalyst for innovation as well. I think developers need clarity on how they can operate, how they can develop their business that will be viewed as permissible in the marketplace, to serve customers, to protect customers, as well as to provide a product that they think can deliver faster payments, cheaper payments. So I do think more regulatory clarity can actually, promote innovation.
And I think why we need bipartisanship here, and in my opinion, a lighter touch, is that we have an opportunity where we could actually put the right kind of framework in place that could accelerate innovation. Mm-hmm. The wrong framework, and in my opinion, too much of a heavy hand, could certainly stifle innovation. So this is the moment we could actually accelerate it, I believe, with the right regulatory framework.
Yes, I agree. And we are seeing stablecoin issuers pursuing bank-like charters and talking to the banking regulators. So they do believe that this is a possible path forward.
And any time we look at a situation like this, an issue like this, I always come back to the question of global competitiveness, what this means certainly around the world. If the U.S. does not clearly define this landscape, would it be unreasonable to expect a large portion of this activity to perhaps migrate overseas to countries with more favorable and clear regulatory structures?
I think businesses would tend to migrate to where regulations are more clear. I would absolutely agree with that. There is an incentive to want to tie to the value of the dollar because the dollar is the global reserve currency. And so I think there's a pull from the strong dollar and all that stands behind a strong U.S. dollar. Technology can help that, but the dollar itself is the value, the global status of the dollar is supported by the rule of law and the governance of the country and the economic potential. But the technology will want to, is incentivized to move to be backed by the dollar because of that. And it will help it, I think, if we can provide a good framework.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Daines.